By the way, we've buried the lead. Not only are you winning the world titles this weekend, by the way, who had that on their bingo card? Jeff Jarrett challenging for winning a title on pay-per-view. Not only did that happen, but the AEW upfronts were this past week. And if you're familiar with the television industry at all, you know the upfronts are a pretty doggone big deal. And of all the wrestlers that they could feature and they could focus on at the AEW upfronts, I know what you're thinking. Well, they probably focused on Kenny Omega. They probably focused on the Young Bucks. I know for sure they had John Moxley front and center. Well, there's no doubt the world champion MJF was there. Should we even go down the CM Punk road? You could go on and on with all the great, fine talent under contract at AEW. But when it came time for those images of the upfronts to go viral, they knew. They knew. There's only one person you should feature. It's Double J. Jeff, Jarr, E-double-T. AEW Collision is coming your way, and you were featured prominently. Jeff, does this mean you're going to dominate the Wednesday show, the Friday show, the Saturday show, owning a baseball team, winning the premium live events, running the house rules? How are you going to do all this, Jeff? Like,
Conrad,
have you found a way to clone yourself? What's the plan?
Well, there's been a lot of things that have happened since we launched My World that were not on either one of ours bingo card.
No.
So never say never in this industry. Absolutely never say never. No. Hey, man, all kidding aside, Conrad, Collision. How big? How
huge.
And I'm glad, on today's topic we're going to get into, because at the end of the day, Global Force Wrestling, this is part 2 of it. There may even be a part 3 or maybe even 4. Doing the research and breaking it down, we'll see where you guide me today. But there's a lot of meat on the bone. But it's all about the television industry. That's the driver. Just at the end of the day. And in under 5 years, 5 hours of primetime television. It just goes without saying, the brand is hot. And look, maybe it's not for everybody. And maybe the WWE is not for everybody. And, the controversy, and our pal, controversy creates cash, just all the ins and outs. But at the end of the day, it is this plain and simple. Warner Brothers Discovery looked at their menu. They've got hockey. They've got basketball. They've got, all kinds of different programming. And they wanted 2 more hours of primetime wrestling. That just says a lot to me, not only for AEW, but for the industry as a whole. Pretty damn exciting, Conrad. It is and I know as a wrestling fan, we're like, oh, great. And then some folks are saying, oh, there's too much wrestling, or this or that, or the numbers and the ratings and all that kind of stuff. Look, folks, the people running the industry are making these calls. I just think it's an exciting time. And I can tell you a common thread that I even from time to time had thoughts when I would watch AEW prior to 6 months ago was, my God, they've got probably 15 main eventers or, whatever. Right. Not enough slots for a 2-hour show, or too much talent, or the balance, or this and that. We just doubled our prime time. It's big. It's really big. I'm excited. I'm excited for everyone involved with AEW, because on the one hand, careful what you wish for, because there really is a doubling down of so many things. But on the upside, and my delusional optimism, wow, what opportunities we have in front of us. So, yeah, the short answer, Conrad, I think I'm going to dominate Wednesdays and Saturdays. But that's just mine and your opinion.
Well, it's not our opinion. Those are facts. And, listen, check his paperwork. Jeff Jarrett's been a top guy everywhere he's gone. AEW's no exception. He's dominated Dynamite. He's crushed Rampage. He holds Dark and Elevation in the palm of his hand. And he's going to dominate Collision. Like, everybody noticed when that Collision logo came out, boy, that's reminiscent of Nitro. Well, listen, those Bob Vila glasses are right around the corner, slap nuts. Second verse, same as the first. Here we go. Now, listen, I had a big heated debate with Eric Bischoff. It's one of our more uncomfortable conversations.
Oh, wow.
We were hooting and hollering about Collision.
Tell me about it.
Well, here's the thing. I think, and I understand that Eric has become a polarizing figure. Well, he's probably always been one, but he's my friend, and I value his opinion, and I value it for this reason. He is uniquely qualified, and I mean as like the only guy who has been in this spot working at a high level with Turner like this to put live television on that show successfully and profitably. He's also been the guy who saw how to do it wrong. And he can talk about the things he did right and the things he did poorly. And I appreciate that perspective, even if I disagree with it at times. And so he and I had a big debate about the show. But one of the knocks on our pal Tony Khan for a long time was, oh, he's hiring all these wrestlers. Listen, you just didn't know the plan. The plan has now revealed itself. He has essentially 3 rosters. And some people will hear that and argue that. But we talk about AEW or WWE as having a brand split with a Raw team and a SmackDown team because they have 2 big old important live shows. Well, now so does AEW. Now, I'm not saying that there's going to be a brand split, but I am saying you have twice as much time, which means you need twice as many wrestlers. And oh, by the way, he's also got Ring of Honor. So it all makes sense now. And I don't know all the details. I do know that Tony was willing to bet on himself. It looks like that has paid off in spades. I'm really excited about what's to come. Don't even get me started on Wembley. I think it's an exciting thing, not just for AEW, but for all of wrestling. And you said it best, that there is an appetite and an interest. Like 4 years ago, let's talk about 4 years ago before the AEW television deal was announced. I mean, everybody in wrestling. We're going to talk about it today with our topic in Global Force. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, this would have been a dream come true to have just one show on Turner. Mm-hmm. Now the idea that there's 3 shows on Turner, those are opportunities that, you know, companies like a GCW or an MLW or an Impact or a Global Force or whoever would have been, a New Japan would have been thrilled to have. And Tony has done it in short order. You got to give the man his props. I am really excited to see you dominate, and I'm hoping that somebody limps away there with the world champion, a new world title, and you manage a way to just yank it from him on June 17th. Because I think if you really, well, listen, we put the poster out. We didn't do it, but the company AEW put together the poster of Jeff Jarrett at Wembley, and just based on that alone, over 60-something thousand tickets were sold. And I'm just thinking to myself, if they want a ratings bonanza, if they just announce you versus whoever has the title on June 17th at Collision, man, you probably do what, like a 10, 11 rating night one?
Stirring it up, my man. My man can stir it up like no.